It's been a very interesting year called 2019. In the next couple of days, we'll say bye-bye to 2019. And for some, it's been a very, very interesting year with fond memories. Of others, it's a year they just want to roll away as fast as possible so that they can look at what 2020 holds for them. Welcome aboard Politics Today on independent television and radio. And this is wishing you a Merry Christmas in arrears and Happy New Year in advance. Today on the program, we'll look at 2019 in retrospect. Yeah, governance, politics, and impact made. How has the journey been for you? Some of the headlines that are available, whether online or offline, quite interesting. I saw one on the Vanguard this morning, very, very captivating. But as you know, one man's meat is another's poison. While some are of the opinion that the year has been a very tortuous one, they've had torrid times in the year 2019. Others are just cool and enjoying their lives, enjoying themselves. But what is most important is that you're alive right now, right here to see another great day. All things being equal, you see 2020. That should be the greatest joy and a source of inspiration and appreciation to God Almighty. Joining us live in the studio here, I'd like to thank very especially Prince Roy. Prince, many thanks for joining us on the program.
Thank you for having me.
I also have with us Fares Okberi. Fares, many thanks for joining us on the program.
Thank you for having me.
I like your shirt. It looks like a Christmas shirt. Maybe I can get a hold of it after the show. Thank you. We also have with us, obviously, the oldest in the studio here, Sir Adams Aliyu, a constitutional lawyer, notary public, former senior special assistant, legal affairs to the state government. Sir Adams Aliyu, many thanks for joining us on the program.
Thank you, moderator. Good day, viewers.
Okay, our state house correspondent in Abuja, Ikaro Atta, is on his way to one of the states in the north. He will be joining us live in the closing stages of the program. And then from Edo North, we'll also be welcoming Alhaji Ahmed Musa joining us live to contribute to the conversation on the program. As usual, all our social media platforms are live and running. You can participate on the program using any of them. And then you can also call into the program in the closing part of the show as we sample your views and opinions. Okay, let's get cracking. Right now, right away, Roy, 2019, how's the journey been? How would you describe it in terms of politics, in terms of governance, and in terms of impact made?
Before I take a general overview, to me, personally, 2019 was one part. I appreciate God for His grace and mercy. But in Nigeria as a country, I will tell you that we are still trying to track. We are patching. There is nothing that happened that was unusual. But the only thing that was unusual that even makes me to really say that the 2019 will be a year to remember is the release of Dasuki. After 4 years incarceration, despite the different court pronouncements, the system remained recalcitrant until otherwise. And they demonstrated that, and that gave us a sense of belonging, that the hope is inside, despite the pain that man must have passed through, despite the pain the family must have subjected to, missing their breadwinner, the loved ones, the father of the household of ground for over 4 years, These are some of the issues. And if we are to relate it down to Edo State, they have not really been so okay. I can tell you that the power that be and the power that might not be have been trying to maneuver the system to their own favor. I'm very just now, a few weeks ago, you recall there was a protest where some persons sustained a very degree of injuries. And to me, politics in Edo State have not been a thing that have really got to me, come for a deep sober reflection. There was an attack on the governor in some area. There was, a deliberate effort by some persons to undermine the office of the government and the government of Edo State. People register supreme effort to oppress and intimidate the people and the government of Edo State in 2019. You know, these are some of the issues that happen.
Yeah.
If we are to go to electricity, the electricity is still very epileptic. Nothing has been done. We were thinking this year, especially BDC, that their license supposed to be revoked. You know, we all
without due process. Without due process.
I think it was the process are always there. There is any process to rescue somebody that is in pain. It's always a due process. You know, because in pain we are passing through without life. It's an issue of concern. And you look at the issue of road networking in 2019, accessing from Benin to Epoma to Okuadoa, Rumi was also, it was a terrible experience, you know, especially...
That's talking about infrastructure now.
Okay. You know, there's nothing to really celebrate about that. You know, looking at insecurity was also an issue in 2019. Level of insecurity was also an issue that called for concern. We've seen the numbers of trained military personnel that died in the process of trying to safeguard this nation. We also see government effort, although the effort is not yet there to me. I've not seen the effort using result. You know, but by and large, above all, as I said when I was laying my foundation, is that we also need to celebrate God. We need to thank God for the grace and mercy He has given to us to see these days. And I'm very positive that Nigeria, I see hope inside, because we cannot continue to lament in this country. I'm one of those who believe that the book of lamentation was written because of Nigeria. Therefore, let us focus on what we can do. I can assure the viewers on Nigeria at large that 2020 will be a year of reckoning.
Okay, so that's a message. That's your message of hope.
Yes.
Yeah, Pastor Prince Roy Riverboat. Okay, Fares, what are your thoughts? 2019 in retrospect. What are those lofty moments? What are those moments that you thought that, wow, I mean, how can this happen in our country in the 21st century?
Yes, thank you very much, Sonny. You know, 2019, it's a year to always remember. It's a year we saw an election where more than 50 people died in the presidential elections. We saw an election where brute force and violence were the order of the day. We saw an election where numbers did not tally, but yet INEC went on to announce winners. We saw an election characterized by the show of force by a military who's supposed not to have any involvement in the civil process. Then we saw a year where Nigeria was rated as the poverty capital of the world. We saw a year where we became #1 in extreme poverty. We saw a year where Nigerians became very depressed. We saw a year where poverty was the order of the day. We saw a year where the presidency single-handedly on their own became the judiciary, the executive, and everything in the country. We saw a year where the rule of law was shoved aside. We saw a year where insecurity was zero. We saw a year where electricity supply was zero. We saw a year where the general infrastructure of the country was at a total collapse. We saw a year where the average Nigerian was starting to ask questions. Sonny, 2019 is a year that we are hoping, like you said, should come and go quickly enough, because it's not a year that we are happy for as Nigerians. There's nothing to be happy about as Nigerians in 2019. The average Nigerian today is suffering. The average Nigerian today cannot afford a bag of rice. The average Nigerian today is not seeing a situation where the cost of living in Nigeria is not something that we should be proud of as Nigerians. You know, the cost of a bag of rice, you can't even compare it to the cost of the minimum wage in Nigeria. So there's nothing to celebrate. There's nothing for Nigerians to say, oh, we're looking at 2019 with hope. You know, we have a system where the rule of law is not the deciding factor on issues in Nigeria. And with that, if it continues like this, then there's nothing to be hopeful about in the coming years, except there has to be some very good changes. There has to be political changes. There have to be changes within the leadership not particularly the leaders, but within the mindset of the leaders. People have to realize that, the purpose of leadership is about the people, and they have to put the people in the front. And when they put the people in the front, then we can have a happy 2020. But as it is now, if we continue to 2020 the way we are in 2019, then we're a serious crisis.
Okay, Sir Adam Salih, I mean,
this is when you break it to a liquid past like that you'll be able to know where we fared well and where we will be in bad faith to just was very mischievous, bad, etc. Pursuant to that, 2019 marks 2 decades of elongated civilian rule. When we got independence in 1960, we merely did 5 years. There was a coup in January 1966. This was followed by 13 years of military rule in 1979. After 1979, we came back to civil rule for 4 years. December 1983, under military coup. So many military coups in succession. Some failed, some succeeded. But in 1999, the present dispensation kicked off. So we now have 2 decades of continuous democracy. So it is uhuru to that. We have 2 decades of unbroken democracy. Then symbolically, 2019 was an election year. And when it is election, it is filled with the razzmatazz, fanfare, intrigues, alignments, realignment, defection, appointments, disappointment, etc. There was a presidential election. The leading opposition candidate that lost challenged the result from tribunal to Supreme Court, as it is always done. And even in Kwara State, what has never happened in Nigerian political history happened. The Saraki dynasty was dismantled to the extent that the incumbent Senate president did not get a return ticket. His candidate for governor, rep, Senate, all of them lost. It had never happened in Kwara politics. Bayelsa, Kogi did their elections, and many lives were lost, which ought not to be. And one is an election year. Even at those states that is not yet an election year, 2019, we're on the eve of the election. The atmosphere is already charged, and the differences have become irreconcilable. We only pray for a better 2020, as it were. Then, if you take the judiciary, the Chief Justice of the Federation, Walter Onnoghen, was suspended, finally removed from office, and hell was let loose. But as a constitutional lawyer, I know that Onnoghen was appointed into that position. He was not elected. He didn't win the election to go. He was appointed. And an appointer can always appoint another appointee. His second in command, Mahmoud, has since been sworn in. But heaven was almost falling. But when he was appointed, nobody knew the criteria. It is when he's removed, it's like IGP. When Solomon Arase was IGP.
He was appointed based on the fact that he was the most senior.
Yes.
And,
and when he was removed, his next person too was equally sworn in.
That's the point.
As we are talking now, Bodero is before, is the next person. He will be sworn in. He can be removed at any time, appointed, but everything became politicized. But we are lucky now that sensibility is gaining ground, and we look forward. We look at Democracy Day. It was a misnomer. August 29, the day soldiers handed over, was being memorialized as Democracy Day. But we have come to realize that June 12, 1993, which is sacrosanct, when Abiola won the election, although the announcement was truncated to the quarter way, it was reverted to this June 12 as our Democracy Day, which is very, very laudable. Then the outrageous salaries of former governors receiving 10 million every month. Zamfara kick-started this, that they can no longer pay, and this is being regularized. So many irregularities that were dug up in 2019, and we have to be very, very happy. Even minimum wage that used to be 18 20,000 a month. It's now 30,000.
Have they started implementation by now?
Some states say that they are going to.
No, not they are going. Have they started implementing
Some
it?
states have volunteered. It's only other states said they will not be able to.
Okay.
And you know this minimum wage, I call it which is, when we use the word minimum wage, the other workers, permanent secretary, director, they say it should be consequential. We should use the same proportion. A permanent secretary was on 300,000. Should only be getting 500,000. It ought not to be. Minimum wage is for the minimum worker, the lowest, not for the maximum wage earner to triple his own.
Okay.
But these are what the lady.
Okay, thank you very much, Sir Adam Salih. If you just join us, it's Politics Today on Independent Television and Radio with yours sincerely, Sonny Duke Okosun. Today on the program, our focus is on 2019 under review, in retrospect, if you like, looking at politics, governance, and impacts made. And of course, next time we'll be together again on this platform. It will be in the new year 2020. So we'll just take all the time to look at how the year has been. Okay, let me come to our panelists one more time. Promises were made, particularly during the elections. The elections have been won and lost, as is always the case. I mean, we know the election petitions went up to the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court gave its judgment one day, and another day, after weeks or days, came to tell us the reasons why the judgment went the way it went. I've never heard of that, but it's okay. I'm sure the legal luminaries are in a better position to give us the dynamics and the interpretation to all of that. But let me get your thoughts on it. Roy, promises made, impacts made, what are your thoughts?
Well, if we are to take it, based on the promises that were made, one can confidently tell you that what is on ground now is not a true reflection of the promises that were made. But it will not also be wise for people to jump into a conclusion because the new government, so to speak, is not up now. You know, we look from here that they were going to tell them, it will not be wise now for me to know a conclusion that I think they're going to strategize from later. And as a government, we will be doing the issue of the typical example is the issue of the president was moving from the vice to now the ministry of these are some of the issues that government is making now. That was going no way to give a sense of belonging to some of us to get that people to skills. And on that, definitely. So
you're sure
yeah, because
all right.
They promised the products, and then they continued with promises in 2019. In 2015, they promised that they will make petrol 5 litres. They ended up paying half of the for litre. So it was over 100% increase in price of petrol compared to the promise. The promised promised they will build 5 million boats, which they not promised. And nothing was achieved. Nothing, absolutely nothing. You know, there have been no expansion in infrastructure. There have been no improvement on the existing infrastructure. The roads have become worse. Education is more expensive than it was in 2015. Food is more expensive than it was in 2015. Light, electricity is more scarce than in 2015. You understand? So there's nothing that the promise that the government achieved. And in 2019, they continued to make promises upon promises upon promises that they have absolutely no intention of keeping. A whole lot of promises that they have absolutely nothing to offer. You know, I say it here over and over again. The presidency and the federal government that we have in Nigeria today have no achievements. They have nothing to say they have achieved in the last 6 years. They have virtually no achievement. Yes.
But you can't pontificate them with some tangible examples.
I just made an example. I said in 2015, before the presidential election, the promises from the APC at that time was that the cost of petrol, the price of petrol will be reduced. They said that, in fact, the president was quoted, as at that time was still a candidate, quoted saying, what are subsidizing? No, do you know, yesterday they said that we are paying 45 naira on subsidy on every 1 litre of petrol. Well, that's for the 8 naira we were paying in 2014. So which means now we are spending over R1 trillion annually to subsidize the same petrol that the president was saying in 2014 that we were subsidizing. So you see that it was all about promises, and there was no concerted effort, no effort to address these promises. They promised that Boko Haram will be a thing of the past. If you look at security in Nigeria today, security is not even worse. We not only have Boko Haram, we now have Fulani herdsmen who have been ravaging communities. So security is worse. So all the promises that were made by the federal government, none of them was kept. None of them.
Okay, let's proceed there. As you know, thoughts and views expressed here are entirely the views and opinions of those expressing them. They are never, will not be the views of the station. But we always recommend that we try and stay on course in terms of expressing our views and opinions in line with best standard practice, which is objectivity, fairness, and balance. So let me get Barrister Adams and you involved in here. In terms of promises made, what are gains recorded?
Well, as a documentalist and a statistician, I cannot remember the present government promising heaven and earth. However big that as it may be, I know that promises were made for about security, anti-corruption. Those I can remember.
And the economy.
And the economy.
Yes.
I don't want, year of heaven and
Yes,
earth.
yes.
Okay. Here we are. If you talk of anti-corruption, we have seen secret cows, individuals, ministers, governors being arrested, charged to court, tried, convicted, and their properties that were illegally gotten confiscated, brought to government. We have seen that. Some people who thought they were in other parties, but if they gravitate to APC, the ruling party, they be exempted. They did that, and yet they were equally tried and convicted. So that is the end of corruption. It's only way. For security, we are told that Boko Haram menace in Sambisa forest was being tackled. I'm not a combatant soldier, not even a soldier. I will not be able to pontificate on the dynamics or the modus operandi of how to fight war. But you know, in Nigeria, a non-footballer claims to play more than a footballer. Once you are a spectator by the side, you will be teaching the person in the field how to play ball. So everybody now knows how to be a combatant soldier who have to defeat Boko Haram. What bullets, what bows and arrows you use is known by other people, but not myself. But it is true that kidnapping, man robbery, court activities, they are unrelenting. And so these are the challenges for the governance in power to fulfill. But as I said, the dynamics and modus operandi of how to go in forest, combat and fight, that's there for the soldiers. And the soldiers will not come out to the open to disclose that, well, next tomorrow we will take an ambush, we will use AK-49 rifle, and they are not going to disclose it to us. So we should be optimistic. Okay. Then the economy. Yes. The Naira is oscillating between 360 and 365. So in the world economic system, Naira is falling. And if it is falling, it is ipso facto clear that goods will be costly in the market. That is affecting the goods. Because many of the things we use, they are imported. And you have to use up to almost 500 Naira to exchange to what costs £1 in Britain. That commodity will rise. We pray that the Naira should come down. Naira used to be $1 to $1 some time ago, $1 to €2 extra. We hope it comes back.
Okay. Let's talk about the fight against corruption, which is the anti-corruption war, a major plank which this administration has talked about. Would you say gains have been made, Roy, in terms of those who have been found wanting, tried, prosecuted, convicted, and they are now serving jail terms? I saw a video, just before former governor of Abia State, Ojuzo Kalu, was convicted. I saw a video, a picture really, where him and then I think the Minister of External Affairs and some other guys, were kneeling down. That was in the church, or he was for some cabals, I don't know. But it was in the church. So that picture came out to give the impression that, here are these guys kneeling before a certain person in presidency to plead. I mean, it's so crazy. It's so crazy because we know that there have been serious concerns about social media and its use, which has brought about the issue of hate speech and all that. I'd like you to distill all of this and give me your thoughts.
I think today, the fight against corruption, I can clearly tell you that none of us say so have recorded. This is the first time the history of Nigeria. This is maybe someone, I can conveniently tell you that a former governor, will be arrested, and at the same time the court will pass the process and he will be sentenced and jailed. Ombariye, those of Kalu, there can mention many names that we all know. These are people who enjoy benefit from crime proceeds, and now they are saying, come and give report of how you manage your people. It is the president that are able to have a court. You also know when issues continue to drag and not in the court and the judiciary, it's also a form of corruption. And you can see the government, the present government is in resolve. I mean, they already get resolve. Whether you like it or not, depending on where you're talking from, the number of confidence that this government are able to secure have also demonstrated that it's a government that believes in fighting corruption. We must give it to this government. Because this is the first time in the history we have seen things like this. Some persons are saying no because even the national chairman in one of the campaigns said that once you join APC, your sins are forgiven. And the presidency and the federal government are able to say, no, you misrepresented us as a party. That whoever commits sin must also go for it. And that was what happened in the case of Uzokalu, Dariye and Co. Therefore, we must give it to this government. It is not easy to fight corruption, but when you are fighting corruption, corruption will also fight back. In all parts of the world where you go to Singapore, they fight corruption, then the corruption also makes attempt to fight back. You understand? Therefore, this tendency has to be here. We must also cooperate with the government because the only issues we are facing in this country is corruption and misapplications of ideas. And that is the reason why we are not doing, and that is the reason why the country is not developing. It's a gradual process because one, the process that fight corruption, which is the judiciary, is not something they will take with it. But with the zeal of this government, one can conveniently tell you that they are not determined to fight corruption. And whether you like it or not, the corruption will continue to persist because there are natural deviants in the society who want to continue to perpetrate their evil. And the government is saying, no, there is no way you will have. And you listen, I listened to President Buhari of recent, when he said that, I wish I was a military leader that would be easy for him to fight corruption because of the process. And this is the first time in the history of Nigeria where senior judicial officers will be confronted to come and give account of the resources that is in your possession. Because the records are there of where you are taking home. How come you don't have such volume of money? Whether the results at the end of the day we're able to get a secure result or not, we all know that the government also register an effort, and therefore need to be celebrated. All the judicial workers now, you can see them now that no one is willing. It's no longer business as usual. They are more determined. If it were before, somebody like Kanu, the former governor of Abia, will not be in jail now from there now saying that he's seeking for bail. It will not get to that level. Therefore, it's a better process. It's not wanted that those who are corrupt in this country will not just go today.
Okay,
certainly we will get it.
Let me pause you there. Faraz, is there any sense in thinking that some of these cases that have been celebrated were not initiated by this administration?
I was just about to say that the case of Uzokalu started 12 years ago. The case of Dariye started in 2007. So there are not cases to ascribe to the present administration.
But the present administration brought them
Yes, government is a continuum. But these are issues that the cases of those who are seen to be the friends of the president, they have not been touched. Let's take, for example, they had a case against the former governor of Bayelsa State, Siva. His houses were confiscated by the FCC. They were returned to him. So it is only those who are not on the good books of the president that are seen to be like they are fighting corruption. Now, let me tell you something. There is no single fight against corruption by the presidency and the federal government. There's no single fight against it. What we saw in the last few years are the fight against the opposition. Mainly the fight against opposition members. It was when there was a huge cry by the public that they not try to make it look as if they were fighting corruption. There is still massive corruption within the police. There is still massive corruption within the judiciary. There is still massive corruption within the government itself. And these issues have not been addressed. Corruption is not only political corruption. What we have, the number one citizen of Nigeria profess so much, is nepotism. And we see the president so much practice it in Nigeria. We see the way nepotism has taken a front role in the way appointments are distributed, with gross disregard for the Constitution, with disregard to due process, with disregard to federal character and all that. We saw it, and these are corruptions. You don't talk about corruption, we don't just say, oh, it's about you take somebody to court, it means we're fighting corruption. Remember that he said that it's the first time we see people in government who have been brought to book. That's not true. We saw an Inspector General of Police that was arrested by a junior officer, arrested and removed for misappropriating police pension funds. We saw it in this country. Buhari was not president at that time. We saw a sitting governor removed in Bayelsa State. Buhari was not president at that time. We saw another governor removed in Plateau State. Buhari was not president at that time. These were issues of corruption as at that time. So there's been fight against what people set up the FCC, people set up the ICPC. So what we see today, what the ECC and the ICP have been doing under the presidency, they have been used as a tool to fight opposition, to fight those who are in the good book of the president, to fight those who are perceived enemies of the president. Today, there is no freedom of speech in Nigeria. Today, Nigerians are living in fear. This is worse than corruption. When you don't have regard for the human rights of your citizens, it is worse than corruption. So I can tell you broadly that there is no fight against corruption, because if you go out today in the civil service, in the police, in the military, there is corruption at all levels. Nothing has been done to address those corruptions from the ground to the top.
Okay, so let me pause you there. Once again, if you just join us, it's still Politics Today on independent television and radio. Remember, you can also follow the program live via our website at www.itvregionnigeria.com/live. You can also contribute using those channels that we already have established on our social media platforms. Okay, now, in 2018, I think by the third quarter or so, the National Bureau of Statistics told us that we have about over 20 million Nigerians unemployed. I don't know what the statistics are right now. And that seems to be a major issue because it portends danger for the country by way of social vices. Either we are breeding kidnappers, we're breeding robbers, we're breeding all kinds of human beings. Where are we in terms of the fight against unemployment? It's also a very, very burning question. Let me get Sir Adam Sadiu. Do you know where we are in the fight against unemployment? Yeah.
Very well.
Okay.
By the time we are assessing the governments at the federal level today, we cannot dichotomize it from the person in charge of affairs.
Absolutely.
Here is someone who was a governor, military governor in North-Eastern States as it were. Throughout his tenure, he was not found to be corrupt. Here is somebody, he was a petroleum minister, going to OPEC, coming back, attending meetings, he was not found to be corrupt. Here is somebody, he was once a head of state, president of Nigeria. He was not found to be. Only few Nigerians have held all these positions, minister, governor, head of state, and was found to be clean. So ipso facto, he's challenging corruption. Rome was not built in a day. Facts are sacred, only comments are free. The position of appointments which people are politicizing, if you look at section 305, it gives the president an elastic power to do and undo. He can even create a state of emergency, as Obasanjo did in Ekiti, as he did in the North. He has not done that. Appointment is only section 14, which talks when you want to appoint a minister, the quota is there, every state should be represented. That is no section. But to appoint chairman of NNPC, to appoint chairman of NDDC, to appoint board member in UBTH, these are within the discretion of the president. So when everyone now talks that is a master of statutory interpretation, what is not in the Constitution, he knows it. The president has failed. Before he appoints a messenger or a driver, he should conduct a research.
I recall that I talked about the issue of unemployment.
Okay, as employment now.
Yes,
no tribe. That what somebody is trying to say, that only few people from a particular section are being employed. Now I'm trying to debunk that.
No, he talked about appointments.
Appointments.
There's a nepotistic tendency in the appointments.
The Constitution does not provide for that. The president is at large to employ whoever he wants. But for non-members' appointments, it is because of the economy. Many states used to employ. It's not only at federal level. I can't remember one Edo state, people.
All right, we'll come to Edo State.
Edo State is a person.
Yes, we'll come to Edo State in the closing stages of this discussion. But let's quickly talk about the economy, which is also a very, very important part of our conversation on politics today. One major policy thrust of the present administration is the closure of the land borders. And I know that from available literature, we have the gains recorded, particularly the revenues that have come into the country, particularly for farmers. All right? But I don't know what the views are from our panelists here. The state of the economy then with particular reference to the closure of land borders. Roy.
I'm one of those who believe that this is one of the best decisions that have ever been taken by any serious government. As far as I'm concerned, because now, my friend there, can confidently, he's a farmer, but, you know, he can confidently tell me the kind of yield he's getting now. I saw how he had been so happy and celebrated because he saw the yield. Before egg, I'm telling you about egg. People import egg from Benin Republic to Nigeria. It was as bad as that. Too big, people import it from China. It was as bad as that. Rice was also an issue. You know, if we are to go into the meat, we have to, you also know how far we have even degenerated to as a people. But this is the first time the government is saying, let us close the border, let us look inward. As a student of history, those countries who have embarked on this mission never regretted it. And I believe that Nigeria will not regret it. One, there is a booming in the farming sector now. People can confidently say, I'm a farmer. There is no day my friend and my brother Help Mary does not write to Facebook that come to my farm. Come to my farm, you know. That, to me, that's a source, it's a source of joy to me that people are now beginning to discover themselves. Okay. They are now beginning to say the government is not providing. Yeah. In all the rice you see in the market now, you can see the way farmers are smelling in terms of rice. All the rice processing in India, a top job. People are making money.
At what cost? Huh? At what cost? Or that doesn't matter?
It matters, but it's a gradual process. We'll get there. Okay. We'll get there. When we started with the mobile system, the telecom system, it was something else. But gradually, you know, we now move to this level where you can easily afford it, whether you like it or not. Once the production is high, the supply is there, you know, the demand.
Right, you also know we're going to open our studio lines. You know? Let me get Fares to comment on this. Now, I'm just hearing that you've been one of the major beneficiaries of this.
Of course.
I'm just hearing that too. You know, but
now let's talk seriously. Yeah.
No, but when I was here the other time, I talked about the closure of the border, and also why the president got some part of it very wrong. You know, because when I studied the reasons why they gave for the closure of the border, it was largely issues of security, and issues of proliferation of light arms. And if you look at Nigeria today, you see that the most porous borders in the country are in the north. The most porous borders in the country are in the north, and none of those borders were closed. None of them were closed. The borders that were closed are those in the south, you understand, where the proliferation of arms into the country is at the minimum, where you go to the Nigerian border between Nigeria and Chad, for example, you know, and you see the way militants are crossing the border left and center.
Have you been there? Or this is based on what you heard? Hold on. Have you been there? Or this is based on what you heard?
Okay. Yes. I can give you examples of reports by the government about security in the borders. Okay. And I can tell you that, you know, he is talking about largely about agriculture. Yeah, but that wasn't the excuse that the government gave. Because
so you're saying the closure of the border has not met the reasons given?
Yes, it hasn't met the reasons given because they said it was for security reasons. Okay. Then the northern borders were not closed. As we speak, people are still bringing in stuff from the northern borders while the southern borders are closed. So if you want to close the borders, close all borders. Let all borders be closed. You cannot close one side, one border, and open the other ones. There are people who do business legitimately within these countries. We have Nigeria is like the father of ECOWAS. Nigeria is the big brother of ECOWAS. Nigeria is the one who is supposed to see the agreements within ECOWAS nations, the free trade agreements. They are free trade agreements. Not every goods that come into the country are contraband or should be stopped. Not every goods. We also have a right to also manufacture goods and send to other countries. Now let me quickly land on this. Yes, let me quickly anchor on this. Yeah. You know, if you see the trade issues we had, it's kind of like a small trade issue we have with Ghana recently and all of that. It's unnecessary because you go and you close the border. If the custom were doing their work, if the custom, which is under the federal government, were doing what they're supposed to do. Many of all these contraband rice, many of all the contraband goods will not even enter the country in the first place. It's because the custom is not doing their job. They are boasting that they are making huge revenue for the country, whereas they're not doing their job. That's why you see contraband goods coming to the country. So there's no need to even close borders. If we have a proper custom that is doing the right thing, there's no need to close borders.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Adam Salim, yeah, the economy. In a minute, let's get your thoughts on the policy thrust and the impacts made.
The closure of border has benefited Nigeria as a sort of check and balance. And the border will soon be reopened. It's not closed perpetually.
Yes, we should be reopened. You must you must be in the know the exact time the border will be opened.
It will soon be opened.
Okay.
No, the president said January 31st.
Okay.
So and that is so it is good as a check and balance, because when illegal goods were coming in, people were not ready to pay tariff. It was good as a check and balance, and it was for security reasons that you not have your valid papers, etc., before you can close. That's what happens in all other countries that share borders with other countries, not only Nigeria. To assume that it was selective, it was only the certain borders to certain countries where that is in bad faith.
Okay. All right, thank you very much. We'll be having Alhaji Ahmed Musa joining us live on the program all the way from Auchi in Edo North Central District of the state. And then, of course, later on, State House correspondent Ikaro Atta will also be joining us live to give us some perspective. But we have Alhaji Ahmed Musa joining us now from Edo North. Ahmed Musa, good morning.
Morning.
Yes, thank you for joining us on Politics Today. How are you? Compliments of the season.
Same to you, Samiji Kokoso.
Okay, you've been following the program. What are your thoughts on the impacts of governance in this last 1 year?
Generally in Edo State.
Let's start from Abuja.
Well, it's okay. It's been wonderful. The 2019 budget. The 2020 budget was passed in due course. Now, by the special grace of God, Nigeria will be starting a budget from January to December for the first time.
Okay.
That is kudos to the president.
Okay.
And we also want to employ other state governors to ensure that things are done properly. They have an assembly that will be united with their state to ensure that all their proposals are passed in due course before the next fiscal year.
Okay, so just let's be real quick on this. Edo 2020 is in the corner, and there's been a heated polity in Edo State because of the seeming friction, disagreement between the national chairman of the ruling party and the state governor. What are your thoughts? How do we need to get...
Point of correction, not the national chairman and the state government.
Okay, so let's get your views.
Not the national chairman and the state governor.
Okay.
I don't know why people misconstrue all these things. It is the governor and the party who voted him in power. So when you say the national chairman is just one person with one vote.
Okay.
So he doesn't have problem with the state government. So this is a live program. So when you people are putting up a question, you should be able to know you are talking to the general public.
Okay.
The national chairman just has one vote, like I.
Okay.
So the governor has problem with his own party.
So what are the real issues? What are the real issues on this?
The issue is that he has locked everybody out, including me talking to you. I work for him. We work to ensure that Edo State will be a better place. But the people we see government house are either from Lagos or Kaduna or Bayelsa. We don't know where they come from. This is the quarrel between him and the party. All he just needed to do as a governor is to bring his party together. If I am angry, I expect the governor to know why I'm angry. It's not that I need money. All leaders of the party needs money. That was where he misconstrued for the very first time. By telling that you can't deceive Edo people, you can't scam Edo people with politicians looking for money. Oshomole came and cleared that thing up in Edo State. You know, no godfather, no more politician coming to say, don't do this road, or you bring this road, this money, the road for this money, bring it for us to share.
Okay.
It's not there.
All right, let me just hold it right there, Ahmed Musa. Just hold the line right there. I have our panelists here in the studio, Royal Riverbo, Fares Okberi, and Barrister Adam Saliu. I'm sure they want to comment on this as we gradually conclude our conversation on the program. Let me get you in here. Let me get you, Roy. Yes.
Yes, the caller who just called in, a very good brother and a friend, is trying to misinform the general public. When you keep on saying that Governor Obaseki brought people from Lagos are here, he should be able to mention it. In the last administration of the former governor, the principal secretary to the governor, the late guy, was not from Edo State. And heaven did not fall. If you know anybody who is serving in this government that is not from Edo State, I'll be challenging them. You mention the name. If you are from Edo State and you reserve in Lagos, don't you know have a right to also come to Edo and take a position? Is it a crime for you? We are building Edo in 21st century. We are looking at Edo in another 30 years so that people will be proud of Edo. You are not telling me that as far as any part of the world you are a Nigerian, you can make.
Yes, I hope you are following the discussion now.
It's a discussion.
Okay.
It's a discussion. People must stop that.
Just hold on. Just hold on.
I just mentioned the name of the former. He should be able to mention names that social persons are not from Edo, but they are the government of Obaseki. These are common. We have interacted. I took my time.
Okay, now Ahmed Musa, just hold the line. Ahmed Musa, just pause so we can hear one another. All right, I just want Roy to land with the point that he's making. Then I'll get you on. Yeah.
When this issue started, I took it upon myself as a challenge. Let me know the contractors. I will move it from side to side, and I found that the contractors who are these are persons from the state. But the irony is that because some of them reside in Lagos, but they decided now we are coming back.
So you're saying these are Edo people?
Yeah, Edo people. The only thing is that those people reside in Lagos and you also know those are persons who also travel from Lagos to come back. I reside in Benin. There is no election that happened in Lagos, so we don't go to then tomorrow somebody will say, well, where's Edoma?
Okay.
We must continue to learn.
All right, let's just take it one at a time. Let's take Faraz, you want to add something to this conversation?
Yes, I would disagree with Ahmed Musa on what he said. You know, because you know, the issues, you know, for them is largely personal. He hasn't made any point about infrastructure. He hasn't talked about about the governor's performance. He's talking about he worked for the governor. He worked for him. So it's a personal.
It's a personal issue.
It's a personal. Okay. That's why. People like him who are accusing the governor of not taking care of them, they've lost the argument, they've lost the battle.
Okay, let me proceed.
Let me so personal.
Listen, let me proceed there. Ahmed Musa, can you understand the line of reasoning now that the conversation about I work with the governor and all of that, or I work for the governor, I'm not being carried along, is largely personal, that this is not issue based as it relates to the generality of the welfare of Edo people? What are your thoughts?
Well, I've not seen anything that is general to the welfare of the Edo people as far as I'm concerned. To me, when you people personalize issues, you want to personalize it on one man, that is where I get angry. The issue here is not about the national chairman. It's about the governor and his people, the people who put him into office, the party who brought him in. He came on the platform to be a governor. But when I hear them going to television, those people who did not know how we really started this whole game, they will be talking trash. I feel embarrassed. I feel embarrassed, honestly, because I was serving with Comrade Adam Saliu Shomole when he was governor of Edo State, when he told us that Obaseki was the only person that can succeed him. We have a variety of all of them. Even Barrister Saradio, who is secretary to government today, was also on that train, who didn't want to step down. And even the governor today, if he's hearing me, he told me that whatever we can do to ensure that Oki does not contest, we should do. So that if he becomes the candidate, he will do this, he will do that. There is nothing he didn't tell anybody.
Okay.
There are people we even
Ahmed Musa, our time is running out. I just want to get the last point on this. How do you think this whole, you say, is the crisis between the governor and his party people, not between the governor and the national chairman? That's what you said. So in one word, how do you think we can resolve this issue?
In one word, how do we resolve resolve the issue. The
Yes.
governor should go on begging the people, the leaders of his party,
Okay.
that he used before to work. It's a very simple matter. I have told him in text messages, I have told him in conversation, I have called his chief of staff, I have called his secretary to government. In that program, I have given you a platform for us to resolve. That there is nothing that cannot be resolved as a family. I told you were there, Sonny.
Okay.
You are not a new person. You should beg the people. You shouldn't say he will crush. He does not have crushing machine. If he crush Ahmed today, he will not crush Ahmed tomorrow. So
Okay.
this is what we are saying.
All right, thank you.
On his bill,
Thank you.
I know it's not cookie.
Thank you. Alhaji Ahmed Musa is joining us live from Auchi. Thank you for your contribution.
Thank you.
Okay, Basaranzali, you wanted to say something? Add
Yes,
something to that?
when people talk outside the Constitution, it makes me laugh. To become a governor is enshrined in Section 65. You must be a Nigerian citizen, such and such years old. You must belong to a political party and be fielded by that party.
Okay.
Ipso facto, there's no room for independent candidates.
Yes.
Even Buhari did not go to INEC to take form to say, I want to contest all on my own. It is your party that will send your name to INEC. So, if the party is disregarded and somebody thinks he can contest entirely on his own without the party, vote for play, vote day. We will wait for next year and the people will decide. I know that anybody ruling, anybody contesting any position must belong to a political party, and it is that party that will send your name to INEC, no individual person.
Okay, our time is up, gentlemen. Let me thank everyone who's made the program a huge success. The later part of it, we couldn't go further because of time, but I'm sure that in the new year, when we expect and hope that the politicking will be on the full throttle, we'll have the time to deliberate more on the issue. But I want to say big thanks to Prince Roy Orivabo. Thank you for joining us on the program.
It's always a pleasure.
Fares Omeri, it's a delight to have you here.
Thank you so much.
And Sir Adam Saliu, thank you for coming on the program.
Thank you very much.
I want to say big thanks to Alhaji Ahmed Musa for being a part of the program. Our state correspondent, Ikaro Atta, couldn't join us from Adamawa. Yes, he was on the flight from Abuja to Adamawa. He promised that he will contribute to the program, but I'm sure he's not able to do that right now. But I'm sure subsequently we'll have him here. That's our program for today, for this week, and for this year, 2020. When we meet again, it will be, for this year, 2019. When we meet again, it will be in the new year, 2020. And so I'm saying to you, Happy New Year in advance. I'll see you in about a year's time, next year actually. On behalf of our crew here, my name is Sonny G. Kokoso, thanking you again and again for staying with us all the year long and being a part of Politics Today. Have a good weekend. Bye for now.